This tea is so piping hot right now. Of course it does! You just dropped a 1-hour video discussing management issues involving Dokibird. So, if you click on this video, I'm pretty sure that you've heard the allegations made by the drama commentary YouTuber known as Cat and Chat, involving Dokibird and an artist she refused to name. She made a Google Doc which contains her interpretations along with the screenshots of messages, though she didn't specify where she got her sources from. In this case, we're diving into this with a grain of salt. Kat's channel has been involved in some VTuber drama before, and some people in the VTuber community have called her out. Don't worry, I'll break down the allegations for you so you don't have to spend the next 2 hours for this mess. Dokibird also put out a statement addressing the whole thing. So let's dive into the accusations and her response. The controversy first gained a major attention when a drama commentary YouTuber known as Cat and Chat posted a detailed video about a charity auction gone wrong. He's specifically focusing on a custom-built PC that was auctioned off during a Tiltify fundraiser hosted by Dokibird. So according to her, this was the major issue. A PC builder, referred to repeatedly in the video as the artist, agreed to create a themed PC for the winning bidder. For the sake of this video, I will use the term builder from now on to avoid confusion. Cat and Chat claimed that the PC builder never got paid despite doing substantial prep work. This includes design drops, sourcing parts, and communicating across multiple months. Remember, this custom PC was an auction item. Yet when it was time to sort out payment or sign a contract, things got messy. There was no finalized budget, no written agreement, and no timeline provided by Doki and her team. That's what the channel claims. The video walks viewers through Discord messages and DMs between the builder and multiple different managers who were cycling in and out of Doki's team. The builder claimed that they were led on for nearly a year, getting vague updates and mixed messages from 3 different managers the whole time. And throughout that time, the winning bidder who donated over $6,000 for the PC was also left in limbo with no updates on their price. One of the key criticisms was that the price of the build kept escalating. Initially, the builder expected about $6,000 to cover the parts and labor. But over the time, the estimate reportedly grew to over $14,000 due to added parts, inflation, upgraded specs, and labor that included time spent in meeting and design work. The builder also expected to be compensated for the time already put in, even though no contract has been signed. And things got even more complicated because of a mix-up over currency. Doki's team initially assumed that the price was in dollars, but since the builder is based in the UK, it was actually listed in GBP or Great British Pound. This breakdown led to the accusation that Doki's team was essentially trying to secure a professional labor for free under the pretense of charity. And more harshly, that Doki herself may have been avoiding the payment or ghosting the project altogether. Now, just few hours after the video drop, Dokibird released a Google Doc where people on X just started calling it the Google Doki. Thanks, I know. This document provided a very different perspective on what had happened behind the scenes. She started by taking responsibility for the situation, openly admitting that the auction was mishandled and apologizing directly to the buyer for the delays. But she also shared some background info that hadn't been public until then. According to Doki, when the auction ended, she was in the middle of personal crisis. Her former management team had allegedly seized control of her branding and accounts. She said she was dealing with the lawyers, the police, and even had to be escorted from her home under police supervision. But during that time, the auction project, which includes the custom PC build, was handed off to her team. But with staff changes and no clear direction, the project just got stuck in limbo. And when Doki was finally able to step back in and start rebuilding, she claims that she personally reached out to the builder and tried to get things moving. But at that point, the cost estimate had changed significantly from $6,000 to $14,000, and the lack of written contract made her hesitant. She said she asked for a proof of work to confirm work had been done but never received it. There was also a conflict on how labor was being tracked. Her team received a timesheet billing for over 100 hours of work at professional day rates, but said they couldn't verify whether those hours had been actually worked. Despite the lack of agreement on scope or cost, Doki says that she was still willing to cover the bill, even offering to pay more than the original auction amount. However, the shifting numbers, long gaps in communication, and what she described as lack of transparency led to her to back out of the partnership. Eventually, she decided to build the PC herself using a new builder and nearly $10,000 in parts. Unfortunately, Amazon cancelled her order due to shipping issues, At that point, she and the buyer mutually agreed that she would just send them $7,500 in cash to build their own setup. She made the payment on May 11, 2025, which was actually more than the original bid the buyer made a year ago, probably as a compensation for the delay. So, case closed, right? Unfortunately, no. Now, let's talk about how this situation was presented to the public, and how some of the details might have unintentionally led to some misunderstandings. After Dokibird posted her response and clarified that the buyer had already been refunded on May 11, Cat and Chat added an update in their video description. It read, "There finally has been a resolution to this situation, and the buyer will be receiving a refund, alongside an additional 1K for the troubles. The artist has not been compensated." While this might sound like a fair follow-up at first glance, there are two issues here. First, the update implies that the refund only happened because of public pressure from the video. But as confirmed by Dokibird's receipt, the refund has been already sent 2 days before the video went live. The delay in communication was still a valid concern, but the timeline presented may have been given viewers the wrong impression about the cause and effect. Second, the repeated use of the word artist to describe the PC builder raised some eyebrows, especially within the VTuber community, where protecting illustrators, riggers, and other character designers is a major issue. Using that term may have unintentionally led to stronger outrage. But the real hit came when Doki shared the actual quotation from the builder, which broke down the full projected cost of the PC. So let's take a look. The quote shows that the hardware cost £3,103 or $3,849 in USD. The labor, on the other hand, cost about £8,960 or $11,115 US. This was split between pre-project and production labor, both billed at $32 per hour over multiple weeks. This means the total cost estimate was nearly £12,063 or about $14,964. Now, some viewers pointed out that this pricing, especially the 80 hours of labor, felt excessive. For them, building a high-end PC does take time, especially if you're designing a team case with tons of customizations. But 80 hours without a working build or even just a time-lapse video raise a lot of concerns. Some people on X accused the builder for inflating the labor cost, with some even saying that this looked like a scam attempt. Others, however, countered that specialized labor like building a custom PC can add up quickly, and the builder may have been charging for consulting, material research, and project management, and those services, while not always visible, still count as work. Doki's team claimed that they asked multiple times for verification of hours and the time-lapse that the builder had allegedly agreed to provide. When those requests went unanswered, the deal broke down. For me, in situations like this where there's no written contract and no itemized proof of labor, both parties are left vulnerable. And while there's no solid proof that this was an intentional scam, the lack of transparency made it easy for people to jump into conclusions. So what's the takeaway? Once again, the absence of formal agreement and clear documentation opened the door for speculation on both sides, and now even outside parties. So what should have been done to keep this from blowing up in the first place? Well, for me, the root cause of all this was a serious lack of structure. If this had been handled like a real professional project from the start, with signed contracts, clear budget, and everyone knowing their role, a lot of this mess could have been avoided. Dokibird and her team should have made sure that everything was sorted before launching an auction. It would have made more sense to get a quote and build the PC first before starting the auction. From the builder side, it would have been smart to separate the initial brainstorming from the actual work that gets charged. Don't start putting in serious time until the budget is finalized. That way, both sides can avoid unnecessary problems. And also, both sides could have benefited from more consistent and professional communication. When things started going messy, bringing a neutral third party might have helped resolve things privately before it got dragged into the public eye. In the future, it would be better for Doki to make a written contract where both parties agree to it before starting any work, covering the scope of the project as well as the payment terms. That way, if either side breaks the agreement, legal action can be taken. So, where does this all leave us? After months of rising tension, this situation finally reached some form of resolution, at least from the buyer's perspective. The auction winner received a refund plus an extra $1,000 for their troubles. That part of the story is closed. But the bigger picture? Well, not so much. No compensation was given to the PC builder, Whether you believe the full quote was fair or excessive, the core issue is that no formal agreement was ever signed. No scope, no timeline, no fixed budget. And when things started to fall apart, everyone involved had different expectations about what was promised and what was owed. On one side, you have a builder who says they put in weeks of prep work and were ignored after multiple attempts to follow up. On the other, you have Dokibird, who was going through a serious personal and legal challenges and claims that the labor costs were inflated, inconsistent, and ultimately unverifiable. Going back, the invoice Doki shared, which had 8,960 pounds or around 11,000 USD in labor, sparked debate within the VTuber community. Was it a scam or just a breakdown in communication? While there's no solid proof of malicious intent, the lack of documentation and deliverables made the code feel suspicious to many observers. At the same time, Doki seemed messed up by launching a big auction without proper planning. This wasn't just a private commission, it was a public charity item connected to her brand, so in the end, the responsibility for how it was managed falls on her. After all, she was the face of the brand. And then there's Scott's commentary video itself. While it brought much needed attention to the issue and held Doki accountable, it also presented the situation in a way that may have unintentionally misled viewers. The choice of words, the order and tone of how info was presented, and how the update was shared can totally shape how people respond to a story. And once a story goes viral, it's incredibly hard to fix, even if new details came out. So, what can we learn from all this? If you're a creator launching a project, especially one involving charity and other people's work, treat it like a business from the start. Make a written contract and clarify expectations. Respect the time and labor of everyone involved. If you're a freelancer or contractor, protect your work as well. As a freelancer myself, don't invest time and effort without having a proper written agreement, no matter how well-intentioned the project sounds. And for those of us watching from the sidelines, let's try to give the stories the room to breathe. Sometimes, both sides are telling the truth from their perspective. But once we start pointing people as heroes and villains, we miss the opportunity to actually learn something. Both fans and antis should avoid mudslinging and focus on understanding the bigger picture, instead of jumping to conclusions or attacking anyone involved. At the end of the day, this was a case of miscommunication, disorganization, and human error, amplified by emotion and online drama. So, what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and I'll see you next time.